When you think of the Wasp, you probably picture Janet Van Dyne, witty, stylish, a founding Avenger, and, most importantly, the original. But, as with many superhero mantles, the name Wasp has changed hands or wings, in this case more than once. And with each successor, the powers, quirks, and fighting styles shift just a little. So, how do Janet's powers hold up when compared to the other Wasps? Let's take a look. Let's start with the basics. Janet's original power set usually boils down to three things: size, manipulation, flight, and bioelectric stings. Thanks to Hank Pym's quantum formula, Janet can shrink to insect size or, rarely, grow a bit larger than normal. At insect size, she's surprisingly strong, can fly thanks to her biosynthetic wings, and zap enemies with blasts of energy. It's a solid toolkit, and over the years, she's used it with creativity and panache. But Janet's not alone. The first major successor to the Wasp legacy is Nadia Van Dyne, Pym's biological daughter, who escaped from the Red Room and took up the name. Nadia shares the Pym particle power set. She shrinks, flies, delivers stingers. But Nadia isn't just a copy of Janet. For one, she's a scientific prodigy, arguably outshining even Hank in technical know. And unlike the early Janet, Nadia has a knack for applying her powers in unconventional ways, reconfiguring tech, and using her size-changing powers for infiltration rather than just direct combat. But here's the trick. What really sets Janet apart isn't the powers themselves. If you give Pym particles to almost anyone in the Marvel Universe, they get shrinking and growing. If you stick mechanical wings and blasters on their suit, they can fly and zap people. Janet's real superpower is experience and style. She's a founding Avenger. She's led the team more times than most heroes can count. Throughout her career, she's made her powers look effortless, which isn't as easy as it sounds, since shrinking down means fighting in a world where every paperclip is suddenly a hurdle. And stylistically, Janet adds her own flair. Think shrinking mid-dodge, zipping between opponents, striking from odd, unexpected angles. In the hands of a rookie or even sometimes Nadia, the powers are tools. With Janet, they're an art form. That's not to say Janet is always the strongest among the Wasps. On pure numbers, the successors can sometimes outdo her. Nadia, fueled by her scientific hyperfocus, is constantly upgrading her suit, tinkering with new forms of stings, sometimes even combining pheromones or other chemicals for specialized effects. She's even attempted to merge quantum physics with her powers, allowing her to shift into subatomic realms. Janet, meanwhile, tends to stick to the classic moose-quick strikes, aerial agilitera, and outmaneuvering foes. Other wasps. In alternate universes, we see variants like Hope Van Dyne Better, known in the comics as Red Queen, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, she becomes the new generation's Wasp. Her powers are almost identical to Janet's, but the focus is more on tactical training, high-tech suit capabilities, and martial artistry. Her wings fold differently. Her stingers fire in rapid bursts. She fights with a studied, precise motion, a little less improvisational, a little more military. But, in the end, it tends to come back to the question, is original always best? When Janet goes up against her successors, she might lose the tech race, but she never loses her edge. Years of Avengers battlefields have sharpened her tactics, and she knows how to press every advantage her powers give her. If you pit Janet against Nadia, or Hope in a contest of raw firepower or creative science, she might not always win on sheer spectacle. But in an actual brawl with lives on the line, Janet's experience and improvisational ability often tip the odds. That's the paradox of superhero legacies. You can copy a power set, you can upgrade the suit, but you can't blueprint what makes a legend legendary. For Janet, the powers are just the start. She brings cunning, leadership, and a confidence that can't be replicated in a lab. So, how do Janet's powers compare to other Wasps? On paper, maybe she's even in the field. She's the template and the challenge. Shrink, fly, sting, improvise, repeat. The others may push the boundaries, but Janet defined them in the first place. That's why, Even now, she casts the biggest shadow no matter how small she gets.